While it is nearly the end of May, I'm finally getting around to unboxing the May 2020 Artsnacks box, so here's my unboxing and the art piece that goes alongside with it. I did open this box fairly late compared to when I normally do. Normally I open it right away, but this one it just was sitting on my counter for a couple days, so I did end up seeing what was in this box. I saw it and I tried to scroll past it real fast, but by then my brain had already processed all that information. So it was kind of my own fault, but I knew it was coming in this box. The very first thing I picked up though were these King Art brush pens. These are very reminiscent of the Arteza real brush pens. They're very, very similar in body shape, size, etc. And I know there were a couple of different color combinations for these guys, but I ended up getting a light blue, medium, and dark green, as well as a yellow. Something I did find very strange about these pens though, is they had no indication of like a color name or a color code on the body of these. So if you had a bunch of these, I think that would be very strange and hard to differentiate them, especially if you're going off of a swatch sheet, just because like there's no way to tell them apart, especially if you have similar colors. That was something that really threw me off about those. And in the tissue paper, the first thing I picked up was the sticker for this month. It's just a really pretty gradient with some squiggly lines on there. We also got a Copic multi-liner. This is a black ink one in size 0.3, so just another fine liner. Next thing that I picked up was the Marabou Aqua pen graphics, which is really weird to say because I feel like it should be Aqua graphics pen, but it's called an Aqua pen graphics. And this guy comes with a bullet nib on one end as well as a brush nib on the other, which is nice because it's double-sided, so you can kind of get more use out of it. Next thing I picked up was this Orojiten, Tombow Orojiten? I think that's what it is, colored pencil. Aslan also decided that this would be the perfect time for him to jump onto my desk and lay down on everything I was doing, which is very normal for him. He decided he really wanted to participate though, and I always appreciate his company, so we found a way to work around this. So here's what the pencil looks like. It's actually a really pretty colored pencil. I really like the look of the body and how it has just like the tip that has the color on the back end, if you understand what I'm saying, but it's just a colored pencil. And last but not least, we got this Higgins India ink marker. This is a 2mm chisel nib. I actually really like the design of this marker because it has like a clearish barrel that shows you how much ink is in it, which is really nice because if you use this a lot, it's nice to know how much ink you have left to work with. But that is everything that came in this month's Artsnacks box. So then of course we get to go on to swatching, which Aslan was also on my desk for, so this may not be the best angle of swatching because it's very far away, but this is as close as I could get my tripod to move, so this is what we're working with. We get cat interference for a very good portion of the video, and it does not stop here, so we have that to look forward to later. As far as swatching out these supplies go, the brush pens weren't anything new. Like I mentioned, they reminded me very much so of the Arteza real brush pens, and they felt almost identical to them. They're water-based, so you can dilute them with water after the fact, and that's really nice, especially if you're someone who likes working with water-based mediums like I do, but I wasn't a huge fan of the color selection, and yeah. I would like to mention though, this is actually my last Artsnacks box that I will be getting. I have officially unsubscribed from Artsnacks, and I don't foresee myself resubscribing in the future. The reason behind that kind of just boils down to Artsnacks for me has really felt like a chore, especially for the last couple boxes. I've had Artsnacks for about 3 or 4 years, and I've always paid for it out of pocket. I'm not affiliated with them or anything. I've been subscribed to them before I actually was even making YouTube videos. It was always just something that was really fun for me to get. It was something to get in the mail every month, something to look forward to, and I was able to try out new art supplies, but after I started making YouTube videos, I was fine with it, but like, especially recently, I've just felt really uninspired by getting a random selection of art supplies, so like the best way I can describe it was it has really genuinely felt like a chore to me. And that's pretty much the sole reason that this video is coming out so late in the month, because normally when it comes to my Artsnacks videos, I try and put them out in the beginning of the month because I feel like that's when they're the most relevant because everyone has just gotten their Artsnacks boxes, and just personally for me, I liked having them out pretty much as close to the beginning of the month, or like as soon as I could after getting the box. That's when I wanted to make my video and upload my video, but like I just haven't been inspired by Artsnacks supplies, and also I've noticed there have been a lot of repeat supplies that I've been receiving, which makes sense because like I said, I've been subscribed to Artsnacks for years. I think this is the 3rd or 4th year consecutively that I've received monthly subscription boxes through Artsnacks. So it makes sense that there's repeat supplies, but like the Marabou pen that came in this box is something I've received through Artsnacks. They've sent Copic multi-liners. I'm pretty sure they've sent black ones before, and that in of itself is like, well, I'm paying to get things I already have, things I've already tried, and while it might be a different color, it's just not as exciting if it's something you already own or something you've already been sent before, if that makes sense. Another thing that really, it doesn't strongly impact me, it never really changed my opinion about Artsnacks, is that it's not the most financially worth it box, because more often than not, I think, or it's normally really close, but there are a lot of occasions in which the retail cost of the art supplies that come within Artsnacks boxes are cheaper than the actual cost of the Artsnacks box, so you'd be better off to just go out and buy the supplies in the colors you want, and you'd be saving money versus if you had subscribed to Artsnacks boxes. I know that's something that steered a lot of people away from Artsnacks in the past, but like I said, for me that was never really a factor. I know it's not the most financially worth it box for that reason, but it is nice to get a somewhat curated box sent to you every month just to try out new art supplies. Because there's a lot of things that I've received through Artsnacks boxes that I never would have known about, that I never would have purchased on my own, but I actually ended up really liking. So that's just something to take into consideration. I'm not trying to crap on Artsnacks or anything, I'm just kind of giving my overall opinions on it, overall thoughts after being a customer of Artsnacks for many years. And like I said, I have unsubscribed to Artsnacks and I don't foresee myself subscribing at any point again in the future. I also don't think I'm actually going to try out any other subscription services paying out of pocket for myself, because I'm not super super in getting art subscription boxes right now. I mean, that might change in the future, but I haven't been inspired by getting random supplies, and right now I've just had fairly bad art block, as many of us have had right now, and when I'm making art, I really want to make stuff with supplies that I like, with drawing things that I like, with a color scheme that I like. So subscription boxes for me right now are really out of the question. It's something that I really don't want to do, and I think it'll be like that way for a while. I might try out other boxes like Palettefull Packs and Scrawler Box in the future, but for the time being, I really don't see myself subscribing to any other art subscription service in the next year or more, honestly. So as a whole, I do have good opinions about Artsnacks as a company and a subscription box. I don't think there's anything wrong with Artsnacks. I think if you're considering getting Artsnacks, there's a few things that you just kind of need to go over, because like I said, it's not the most financially worth it, but at the same time it is nice to get a box every month of art supplies. So it really just depends on the reason you're getting it. If you're doing it to save money on art supplies, definitely not it. If you're doing it because you want to try new stuff, if you want to experience new mediums but you don't know where to start, or you're unsure about brushes, or you just want to try different brands, then definitely art subscription boxes, Artsnacks as a whole, is a very good idea. Probably could have organized my thoughts on that a lot better, so if I have anything to add, I'll leave it in the comment section below or something like that, but for the most part, I think that's all I have to say about Artsnacks. I won't be resubscribing to them in the future. This will be my last video for Artsnacks, so I am sorry if you guys really look forward to Artsnacks videos, but it's just kind of a weight off of my chest to know that I won't have to do it every month. Not that I'll make less YouTube videos or anything like that, but it's just been something that is kind of a dreadful part of the month for the past couple months, so I'm very glad I'm giving myself that little permanent break and not having to worry about it. As far as this piece goes, this was a really rough piece for me. It genuinely took me 4 days of just separate sittings to come back to it, work on it a little bit, get frustrated with it, decide I don't want to deal with it anymore today, I'll address it at a different point in time, and just rinse and repeat that process until I finally finished it. I was extremely unmotivated with it. I didn't like the way it was going. I actually really liked the sketch. I knew from the sketch that I should not have done this piece with these supplies, because it was not at all the color scheme I wanted. It was not at all what I had envisioned. I liked the sketch. Only thing I didn't like about the sketch was that the tiger was a little bit smaller than I wanted, but I was like, it's a nice sketch, I like it. But like the colors I envisioned, I wanted her to have really dark skin, I wanted her to have like dark brown hair, and I couldn't do that with these supplies. And on top of that, I also did not thumbnail what colors I wanted where. So initially I went in with like a yellow mixed with the black India ink for her skin, and then I started adding green, and then her skin got really green and I didn't like it at all. So doing that as like the first step was very rough because I wanted to throw it away, but at the same time I didn't want to sketch something new for this piece because I really just straight up did not want to work with these supplies. So I just kind of kept having to push myself through it. I went over her skin with my Prismacolor colored pencils, and that definitely brought a lot more warmth and like life to her physical appearance as a whole, so that kind of helped. But it was just a lot of me stepping away from this piece and going, God, I wish it was done. I don't want to have to come back to this, but I'm going to, and like I felt like I bit off a lot more than I intended to, especially with the leaves and stuff, because I wanted to add a lot more like rendering and detail to them that I just kind of rushed through towards the end. So I'd like to revisit this concept in the future because I really did like the initial sketch. I thought it was really cute, but it just went downhill really fast, and I just didn't have the motivation or the energy to like power through this drawing. I mean, technically I did have the energy and motivation to power through this drawing, but I didn't have the energy and motivation to do what I wanted with this drawing or even try to make it work with the supplies I was given. So I cheated a lot in terms of like only using these supplies. I used a white Posca pen, and that in of itself was like the saving grace of this piece, I feel like, because just adding the vines in the background towards the end felt like it just really made it look a lot better. And then like I mentioned, my Prismacolor colored pencils, those also saved the day. So this was a really rough piece for me. It was kind of a bad send-off of Artsnacks on my part, but like I mentioned, I really didn't want to do it, and I pushed myself to do it, and I'm really proud of myself in terms of actually finishing this and getting it done and putting together a video. And Aslan was just my cheerleader in the like worst ways, because I was like, I want to finish this, I want to finish recording this, and he just wanted to stomp all over it. So I don't think anyone is complaining though, because I see all your guys' comments and I know you love my baby boy, so me too. I love him very, very much. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.